Hey everyone, Kyle Walker here. If you love cars, fixing things, or just want to understand your vehicle better, you're in the right place. I share hands-on tips, smart driving advice, and straight-up car talk without the fluff. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stick around till the end. You don't want to miss what's coming up. Let's get into it.
Every motorist knows what a primer is. It is a type of primer is such a means as a primer. But still sometimes it is difficult to understand why these primers are needed, what they give, and what they have to do with car windows and self-adhesive films used for vehicle styling. Although primer technology has been used for quite a long time when installing new glass on a car, the primerless method has recently started to gain popularity. Therefore, it is necessary to study the features of primers, as well as to understand how the primerless method is superior to the perfectly proven method with the use of this substance. Why primers are used. Primers for car windows are mainly considered, although there are also special means necessary when gluing the vehicle with different films. Primer can be characterized as a means to increase adhesion. This is the basic essence of all primers. They are able to increase the quality of adhesion between the surfaces to be glued. A striking example, when the primer can become indispensable, is the installation of auto glass, as well as gluing the car with films. Having determined what this primer for the car is and why they are called primers, it is possible to study the nuances and spheres of their application. All kinds of vinyl-based films have a self-adhesive surface, but it is important to realize that the properties of this adhesive are not always enough to obtain a really good adhesion in some areas. These include tuck-ins, elements with complex geometry, as well as areas where the film stretches. In order to make the application of the film as good as possible, before the gluing itself is necessarily applied primer. In this component, primers designed for glass are somewhat different from film products. They are used for the same purpose. That is, they increase the quality of adhesion between the glass itself and the body when the windshield is mounted on the car. Primerless installation technology is considered the oldest, but it does not lose its relevance at all. Yes, the primerless method is now actively developing, but it is not yet able to fully replace the use of primers. The essence of the application of the means is that on the edge of the glass, first apply a special primer in the form of a primer. This substance is black in color. On top of the means to increase adhesion is necessarily applied activator, and then the adhesive itself. After these procedures, the glass is installed on its seats in the frame and fixed. Black primer or simply primer is applied to create an additional black stripe. But it is not to protect the driver's eyes from sunlight at all. The function of the primer was to protect the glass itself from possible fallout. The dark strip created by the primer allowed to protect the adhesive layer from gradual cracking and destruction. After all, when these areas of contact between glass and frame are directly exposed to ultraviolet radiation, a gradual process of degradation begins. That is, the glue loses its adhesive properties, dries out, cracks, and deteriorates. It literally ceases to hold the glass in the frame. As a result, when braking sharply, or even a slight pressure from the inside of the windshield, it easily flew out. Read also, when you can and cannot drive in reverse. And what is the penalty for breaking the rules? Primer allows you to keep the glass in its place and protects the car in such unpredictable situations. In the case of films, primers are also used, but of a slightly different type. They prevent the adhesive from breaking down and increase the adhesion properties when applying vinyl films. Thus, it is possible to achieve an initially higher quality of car gluing with decorative materials. It is worth considering separately how primers are used in the application of films and in the installation of car windows. Application of film primer. If you decide to glue decorative films, it is strongly recommended to additionally use a special primer, such as ZM94. This is in many ways a unique product, analogs to which do not exist. But in order to achieve maximum efficiency, it is required to competently dispose of the capabilities of the auto primer. For this purpose, it is necessary to perform several actions. Everything starts with the preparation of the surface on which the primer will be applied, and then the film itself. It is necessarily cleaned and dried so that no contaminants remain. Isopropyl alcohol, mixed in equal proportions with ordinary clean water, can be considered the optimal means of cleaning. Before opening the primer jar, the container should be thoroughly shaken. Carefully apply a uniform, thin, and even layer of primer to the surface to increase adhesion. Adhesion properties. Try to use a small amount of primer. There is no need to use the full volume of the container. Wait for the primer to dry completely. Only then can the film be applied. If the work is carried out at room temperature, it takes literally 5 to 10 minutes to dry. Before applying the film, make sure that no new contaminants have appeared on the surface. When gluing porous surfaces, it is recommended to apply another layer of primer to obtain a homogeneous coating and increase adhesion. Wait until the previous coat is completely dry before applying the second coat. Surface treatment is carried out using a tampon or brush. Now you can safely apply the film itself. Proper use of primer can significantly improve adhesion and guarantee excellent adhesion of the film to the body or other surfaces to be glued. Primer and auto glass. Although the procedure of replacing glass on a vehicle cannot be called very complicated, the primer can play a key role here, and it is reflected in the form of ensuring a high level of reliability and quality of the completed installation in the future. Read also, how to calculate the budget for the maintenance of the car. Roughly speaking, the primer does not let the glass fly out. Over time, because this material protects the glue from breaking and cracking, which used to happen with fully transparent glass. The first thing to do is to remove the old glass. Mostly windshields are subject to replacement, but sometimes the rear ones are replaced by a similar method if there is some damage on them. At the next stage, you need to clean the frame from all contaminants. This work should be approached very carefully to get rid of the remains of old glue, accumulated dirt, and dust. Otherwise, they can interfere with the quality installation of new glass. After cleaning, it is required to degrease the body surfaces in contact with the glass. It is recommended to use a special alcohol solution. A layer of primer is applied along the edge of the new glass. According to the manufacturer's instructions, it is necessary to wait for the time required for complete drying of the product. When the primer is dry, a layer of special primer activator is applied on top of it, which will allow to fully manifest the quality. Adhesion of the glass with the adhesive and with the car body itself. Using the appropriate adhesive, the glass is mounted in the frame of the vehicle. After complete drying, you can proceed to full operation. It can be said that the primer was previously just necessary for gluing auto glass, but now it is often glued and without this special primer. The point is that the application of primers is provided at the stage of their production. If earlier all glasses were completely transparent, the primer for cars was applied in a compulsory manner. Modern glasses already from the factory have a special coating to strengthen adhesion, because of which the automotive primer in the form of primer for glass is gradually losing its relevance. The presence of a protective strip gets rid of this stage in the process of installing the structure in the frame. Modern glasses with a special protective strip, which are applied by silk screening, are more convenient in application, since they require fewer steps for installation. The craftsman only has to apply an activator to the existing black strip, then use adhesive and complete the installation. The primer was not abandoned, as some might think. It was simply applied at the factory. Thus, it is not quite fair to call the primerless method as such. Nothing has changed significantly, except for the fact that black primer is now applied not by the master, but by special equipment. At the stage of production of auto glass, primers are an important component in the repair and maintenance of vehicles. Their properties make it possible to increase adhesion and improve adhesion properties. Thus, it is possible to install the same glass or glue a decorative film more qualitatively. Only for each of the procedures there is a different type of primer. It is not worth using a primer for glass when applying the film, and vice versa. In conclusion, a car primer is an essential component in the painting process, serving as a foundation that enhances adhesion, improves durability, and ensures a smooth finish. By understanding its purpose and the proper techniques for application, you can achieve professional-looking results in your automotive projects. Remember to choose the right type of primer for your specific needs, prepare the surface thoroughly, and follow the manufacturer's instructions for the best outcome. With these tips in mind, you're now ready to take your car painting skills to the next level. Thank you for watching, and happy painting!